This is my week 3 reflections about 4 weeks late for my Scratch project. So this is project number 4 and it's a Scratch project. So on Monday, that's our sort of theory day, if you will, where we're on the computers and doing all our write-up and things. So first I did a write-up on my portfolio about my influences, which I think we've had a workshop previously on finding like influences and things, and I found a whole lot more for who I wanted my influences to be for my project. So I made a note of them, and there were people like Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Jodie Comer, Prima Facie, the play by Susie Miller, another one of my influences, and that ties in Prima Facie, Susie Miller because she's a writer, and Jodie Comer because she starred as Tessa, I think her name is, Tessie or Tessa, in Prima Facie when it did the recording for the National Theatre. So I found a lot more influences from that a bit further on. People like Death of England, Delroy, when I was looking at audience participation and things like that. And I also started to look at comedic influences for stand-up comedy and keeping audiences engaged with me just having solo time on stage. But that comes at a bit later date. Also on the Monday we had to create a production plan of exactly what we wanted to do, and then we had to then create that into a rehearsal schedule on Teams, which I did really like because obviously with it being a solo project it gave me more time to be able to distinguish what I could do working from home and what I could do in college for the practical side of things, and having the space to do that. But with me not having much movement to accommodate my own needs, I didn't need much rehearsal time in a practical space. I just needed to get to know my script a little bit better, so that one was a little bit easier to do. And then we also had to write a summary of performance ideas, which I think I put in my research, my portfolio, it might be under practical, I cannot remember. And then on Tuesday morning we had to write a Scratch pitch using the sentence starters we had on the board, and just write it up and then put it onto our portfolio. So mine is in there but right at the bottom because I forgot to add it and I cannot physically move everything down to put it in there. But yeah, I did enjoy doing that because it gave me a clear idea of what I actually wanted my piece to look like and my influences and what I needed to focus on and challenges that I could face and how I could avoid them immediately by thinking of a solution already. So I did that next, and I am going to take that into my final project as well because it gave me a very clear idea of what I wanted to do with influences, challenges, problem solving, planning, and it also gave me an idea of practical and theoretical targets to reach as well. So for example, for this project, my practical challenge was me being on stage by myself and pushing myself out of that comfort zone. And theoretically it was my time management and things, because working from home you can get easily distracted, so it was trying to keep to my timings I created in my rehearsal schedule the day before. So it was just trying to do that, and that's all in my portfolio now. And then I finished my basic influences, and it was more just independent learning on the Tuesday. We started the independent learning on Tuesday afternoon, which was when I finished sort of my write-up on my influences that I'd found so far to week 3 into my portfolio. And then on Wednesday I started to organise project notes. So I split it down into 5 bits of project notes for like staging, costumes, lighting, set and props, so just to make sure I have everything, and that went really well. So yeah, I managed to get everything up on that. And then I also had to update my referencing because I had put so many videos in that I found to back up my reference points and my influences, and had not referenced any of them, so I've got a massive list of references on there now. Starting my presentation as well, yeah, Pecha Kucha. So I started my Pecha Kucha presentation and plot points as well. So I started, because I was struggling with my script a bit. I've had it for 3 weeks and I had a basic idea of what I wanted, but I didn't know how to bring that to life. So I created like plot points of how I wanted it to, just in 3, because obviously it's a Scratch project so it's not supposed to last ages. So I just did 3 basic points, like start, middle, end, and then just went with it from there. And then I started my Pecha Kucha presentation, which was when I ran into my first technical problem of it would not save for the life of me. I think my presentation that I am showing is like presentation number 4. Like it would not save whatsoever and it was being an absolute nightmare. So I've redone my presentation about 4 times, but I overcame that problem by just resaving it every single time that I did it. So like I'd finish a point of like presentation number 3. I got to a point where I was like, right, I've done as much as I can do for now, saved it under a new name, so I have about 3 copies of the exact same presentation from just where I've had to resave everything. And then Thursday I didn't do anything because it was my day off and I had hospital appointments. And then Friday's working from home day, so it was updating my portfolio and putting my scratch pitch in there. Have I added that twice then? Potentially, I'll have to have a look. And then any photos or videos that I had needed to put into my portfolio that I had missed. And that is week 3 for Scratch.